Hello friends, this is Scott, and there's a good reason why I haven't done a video in a week. As you see here, we took a quick little vacation to Southern California for a friend's wedding and just had a good time. This is Oceanside, off the Oceanside Pier. So it's just beautiful, beautiful weather in California. It was still pretty warm, and we were staying in Vista. This is a view from our friend's house, and we stayed in an Airbnb just below the top of that ridge over on the other side of the canyon. Now, here's my new little buddy. Our friends that got married are in real estate, and one of their clients just sold a house and didn't have a place for the horse to go. So they took it in for a little while, and I'm hoping that they get tired of this little pony, and I can figure out a way to get back to California and bring him to my new hobby farm. So we'll see. Well, less than 24 hours later, Lincoln and I are back at the hobby farm, and this is the project we're going to tackle today. Is just make a new planting bed here. I'd already started the front, but I didn't have time last trip down to do the sides. This bed will be 4 feet wide, and I will eventually put in some border material. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but first step right now is we look at some of the plants I planted last time, just a comfrey and an elderberry. I just need to rip this grass out. That's the first step of the process. So here we go. And I didn't film it all because it's kind of redundant, but I just took a tape measure and kind of measured out 4 feet. Again, I will be putting some sort of formal edging in here, but we'll see. But here's all the grass that I pulled out of this new bed. And I got to take the wheelbarrow and I'm going to take it into the back and save this material because there's a lot of good organic matter in it, a lot of good topsoil. So nothing's going to waste. I'm building this bed on basically recycled material. Either from this property or from my home in Salt Lake City. There was a lot of grass that I removed, but it's all going in the recycle center. And as you see next to the wood chips and some grass that I've from the cuttings that I'm saving here for future use. So now I'm taking a look at the grass clippings that I dumped in the front yard, and this is the next layer of material that I'm going to put in this bed. Because we had such a short turnaround from our vacation to me running down to the hobby farm, I wasn't able to load up any materials like manures or anything. So I can't finish this bed totally this trip, but I'm going to do the next layer, and I'm going to start using this material, the grass clippings, to put on top of the dirt that I just turned over. So here's the first load of the grass clippings, and using the old trusty wheelbarrow. And it didn't take too long. I used up most of the material, and here's a look at how much I used here. I dumped it on, probably 4 to 5 inches thick in some places, probably a little less than others. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want to smother weeds, but there's probably going to be some weed seeds in this material. So the top layer is going to be the bark wood chips after I put some manures down, and hopefully that'll smother out any weed seeds or any sprouting seeds. And like always, I always water in any dry material so it doesn't wick any moisture away from the plants. And I want to make sure that the bed stays wet all the way through it. Oh, a quick sprinkling is all I'm going to do right now. As it is raining off and on, that's the forecast, so it'll be watered in pretty good, I think. Now back to my old dirt pile. Here's what it looked like again when I started. I have to screen this material because, again, there's lots of rocks, big and small. Now, this is a 1/2-inch hardware cloth, so there will be some smaller stones going through it, but they don't have any issues in the bed. In any regular planting bed, they actually help with some drainage. Here's a look at the screen material. As you can see, there are rocks, but it's pretty good stuff. So I'm happy with this. Again, I'm going to layer this on top of all of this grass, dead grass clippings. And here's the first load. As you can kind of see, it'll be probably 3 inches deep once I spread it all out. 3 or 4, and then I'll be bringing in more chicken manure on my next trip, and then I'll bring wood chips from the back. Here's a look at the rocks. Now this is 4.5 wheelbarrows full, and this is how many rocks I was screening out of this, not counting the big ones. So there's a lot of rocks in this material. So I'm going to use that for the road base for my back gravel road, and there's some of the bigger rocks I keep chucking out of this material. But still got a lot of material to go through, but it's getting used, and it's going to a good use. So about halfway through, as you can see, this is kind of the look of it. And I'm not going to plant in this bed until next spring, so all I want to do is get it built, get it all layered up, and then let it sit all winter. There's a couple of the plants that I planted last week, though. And then here is a look at the bed totally covered over with screened soil. And this is subsoil and topsoil, just kind of a mixture of everything. Now, it was raining, so I dug a little trench. I need to replace this gutter extension, as you see here, that's all tore up. So that'll be the next trip down. I'll grab one of those or two of those and bring them down. Now, as I was digging, I dug up some tulip bulbs, and I just decided to plant them in kind of just a circular kind of pattern, random, on this front bed, and just pushed them in the soil, and I'll, again, be covering them up with wood chips, so there should be plenty deep in the soil. Here's an after look at this pile of dirt that I keep whittling away at. So as I'm digging this out, I'm visualizing a pond in this area. So I need to do this sunken patio on the other side. That's my first vision, but I think I'm going to put a pond up here on the top side. I keep coming up with new projects in my brain, and I got to remember that that's going to be down the road a little ways. That's not going to be one of the first priorities. But here's a look at the finished bed up to this point. Again, I'm going to go and bring chicken compost from the chicken yard, and then I'll bring wood chips either from home, I still have some left, or I'll bring them from the back where I've got them stored, and I'll mulch this all in heavily and then let it sit over the winter, and then I will plant in it next spring with some flowers. And I've got some rocks, big landscape rocks I'm going to put through here also. So, hey, here's a look at the bed I did last week. These are the berry bushes, and they're still nice and moist. It's been raining down here quite a bit. I did hose them down a little bit, and I did snack on a few more grapes. But the bed is doing well and everything's still alive, so that's the good news. Again, I'm going to put borders in. I'm probably going to use the mini railroad ties along here, probably one or maybe two levels. I'm not sure. I just don't want to do a lot of trimming. I want it to be able to mow over it. So probably maybe one layer of railroad ties might be the edging. So we'll see how that goes. And other random stuff. This is an old willow that was cut down in the front yard, and I see with all the rain, there's just tons of mushrooms. I don't know what kind of mushrooms. They're probably poisonous, but I just found it very interesting that just a little bit of rain and these mushrooms are popping up everywhere, all around the trunk of this tree. And the mycelium must be all through the wood. So they're going to be helping consume this and break this material down. And I'm sure they're not going to do it on their own. I'm going to have to take a chainsaw and whack away at this. But it's kind of cool how Mother Nature just uses up what it's got. And if there's dead wood, it's going to find some mushrooms that like that type of wood. And again, this is a willow. So I never knew willow was a good tree for mushrooms, but now I do. Now here's a look at the back pasture. As you see here, there's an interesting mowed area. How'd that happen? Well, as you see here, there's a hole in the fence, and that's what cows do. As we take a little scan around, the grass has really grown nicely. The neighbor's been irrigating this corner, and the grass is growing really tall. But I need to get some animals in here, as you can see what they can do. Now, with all the clouds and the storms, there was tons of hawks. I believe they're hawks. I don't think these are buzzards, but I'm not quite sure. But the sky was full of them today as the storms were rolling in and rolling through and then rolling out, and then a new one was coming in. So lots of birds out checking things out, looking for something to eat, it looks like. But weather's changing. It's getting cooler. It's still a nice day today, mid-80s. But the storms were just about every half hour it would rain. But the clouds are really neat looking as they're coming through. And it was just kind of a pretty skies today. Well, thanks for watching this video. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please hit the subscribe button, like, share, and comment, as I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your time watching this video today, and thanks for your support.